Welcome to the Husband Hot Seat, where I interview men just like yourself going through marriage crisis, where their wives have said either, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore, or I'm done, or I want a divorce, or there's somebody else. And we coach them on how to turn around their situation. My name is Dennis Crosby. I'm a marriage recovery coach, and I've worked with hundreds of men just like yourself, helping them turn around their marriage regardless of how bad it is. So let's hop into today's hot seat. All right. So welcome. Thanks for being here with us. How you doing today?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good, good. It's been, like I said, the day of talking to great men like yourself, and I'm really excited for us to dive in. So, why don't we start with some basic information with like how long you been married?
6 years?
6 years. All right. Were you guys dating
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah, we were together. We've been together a total of 15 years. So it's been a little stretch.
Yeah. And what's the current situation right now? Are you guys dealing with divorce, separation, same bedroom, different bedrooms? Where you at?
We're completely separated right now, and I don't live in the home.
Okay. How long has it been like that?
3 months now.
Well, why don't you talk to me about what happened? What's going on? Like, what do you think led to the situation?
Oh man. Ultimately, I would kind of say that it really just kind of came down to the control of my actions.
Mm,
I have an anger problem, and it comes out.
yeah.
Never been physical, but I've definitely been emotionally, abusive at times.
So what does having anger problems with her actually look like?
Oh,
Give me an example of the last time it happened.
oof. Um, so going to a event, um, it was it had been set up like 3 months beforehand. We knew we were going to this, and then everything that's happened, we still ended up going and going over to the house to get myself prepared. Seeing all the pictures have all been taken down and stuff like that, and then kind of led into the night of, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom. You want to go with me? And I was like, no. I'm going to stay here and watch the show. Like, we're here to watch the show. Like, can go to the bathroom and come back. And she got all upset with me.
Mm,
But it kind of turns into a thing of like, this is where that projection between both of us is where I react to. So, like, when we got back to the house, I finally kind of sat down and was like, hey, what's with the pictures? What's with that? And then just kind of led into me being angry and saying things that I probably shouldn't have said. Like, the lack of support, just kind of pointing things out to
mm,
her that she has done that kind of causes me to get angry. I'm trying to get
got
her to understand that there's things that trigger that,
it. Mm,
and that she's kind of partly part of that.
yeah. It's like criticizing and blaming, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That makes sense. What else do you feel like is causing the issues?
Alcohol problems in the past
What did that look
definitely didn't help.
like? Daily drinking, weekly drinking, bottle of
Um,
like what?
Weekly, but my problem with the alcohol is that I don't stop. If I get to like 2 beers in, I'm going. There's
Guys,
not a time where I just sit down and have a beer and relax.
like once a week you get like blackout drunk kind of thing.
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Okay. Got it. And what would happen when you do that?
Just the release of all my inner feelings of situations and where we are and what I've done and what she's done and this and that, just kind of that. It's like a bottle up point, and then when I
Uh,
get to that blackout point, that's when it like blah, like just all
uh,
spews out.
Emotional
Yeah.
vomiting. Yep. Okay. And what were some of the complaints that she has that led to the separation?
She hasn't really spoken too much about the complaints. She's kind of reserved with that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like she thinks I should know what's going on and what's wrong and everything,
Mhm.
which, maybe I should, but we're all kind of blind to things that we do and we don't realize it. And
Mhm.
um, the drinking, the anger, um, the fear, like like when I get angry, I yell and say shit, and that
Yep.
kind of creates that unsafe place for them.
Yep.
Um, the oldest boy, he understands like what's going on and what's not. And,
Mhm.
we've had talks about it. And he's kind of brought across the same complaints is that I don't control myself and I let myself get out of that rage point, and then I'm just like,
Mhm.
boom, it's there.
Yeah. Has it always been like that? Or is that a newer thing?
Um,
The rage.
I think it's always been like that. I've always been an angry person, even growing up. I always had a quick temper, and then once it hits that point, it's like I don't remember what happens when I get that angry.
Mm.
Like it almost like a switch turns, and I'm not me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What was your childhood like?
Pretty similar to what I'm doing right now. I mean, it seems like a lot of people tend to repeat the steps that they ended up growing up with. Mom and dad fought a lot. Dad was an alcoholic. Mom smoked a lot of weed, so she just kept herself kind of separated from everything. And we just kind of went through the motions of everything. Um,
Yep.
I have two siblings, and I was definitely the one that was physically abused more than anybody else. I was the middle son, firstborn son. So
Yeah.
it just kind of like a lot of pressure put on me to do whatever I should or shouldn't. And when it wasn't, I was punished for it.
I'm sorry, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's communication like between you and your wife now?
It's okay. We have the kids. So, we do kind of communicate.
Mhm.
She tends to do a lot of stuff through text. And most of it's very short and curt, like examples in the mornings, I'll text her, hey, hope you have a good day today. And instead of, all she'll say back is like, you too, stuff like that. Just quick little short answers.
Yeah.
Um, I just had my birthday Wednesday
Mhm.
and we went over there, or I went over there and she made dinner and I had dinner with the boys and her mom and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a really strange situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And like what kind of effects has that having on you? You all right?
Yeah, there's good days and bad days.
Mhm.
There's days where I just can't stop like thinking about that stuff and like crying a lot and trying to push myself forward into that position to where I'm not that way.
Mhm.
And the next day I can be completely fine.
Mhm.
I can move through the day without anything bothering me or letting me, get down on myself or anything like that. So it's kind of that roller coaster. One day's good, one day's bad, but
Mhm. Mhm.
definitely has a heavy effect on me. It makes me feel like there's something there that can be worked on,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be, like watching the guides and stuff. It's a lot of it's me stepping forward and putting myself up there and
Yeah.
doing the things that I need to do for myself.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you don't see, like, you see your own change, but then you don't because you do revert. I'll have a bad day and I'm like, man, like, what the heck's going on here? Um,
Mhm.
but the hard part is like when you are having those good days and you're making your changes and you're moving forward, it feels like they don't see it
Mhm.
because we're separated. I mean, the only time we really see each other is if I go to get the boy or like the youngest one stays out here with me every now and then. And
Yeah.
um, that's really about it.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to feel like she notices or sees any of these changes, but
Mhm. Yeah. What are you currently doing to work on your own?
a lot of prayer, watching the guides, and
What got
honestly, I'm just trying to keep myself in check. If I find myself getting upset or angry over something, I have to slow down. I stop for a second. I think, count 3 seconds out or something, just breathe a little bit,
Mhm.
and just little things that I can try and do every day to make these changes become something that I know is actually working, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because if I don't feel like it's working for me, then I don't, then it's not, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty straightforward one. So, a couple things that I want to highlight, really three things in particular. One is a kind of a teaching moment for yourself where if you go back to that story you were sharing where you guys were watching something, she wanted to use the bathroom, right? That story you were referring to earlier.
Yeah.
And at that moment, when she said, "Did you want to come with me?" That's what we call a bid for connection. It's from the Gottmans, if you're familiar with them. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's called a bid for connection. She was reaching out for connection, and you denying that bid created a feeling of rejection for her, which is why she then came back upset. Right? So that's how that happens. Now, if we go even further back than that, the reason why I imagine you rejected that bid was because you were upset about the pictures and that hadn't been expressed. Right. So you were harboring that anger, that upsetness. And then
Yeah.
when she tries to connect, you reject her because you're still upset. And then that spirals a situation even worse.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. So it's really important that when these things come up, we address them and we don't just hold on to them because usually then it will seed out in some way that will make a situation even worse than if we had just addressed it directly.
Yeah.
Even worse, we can then go into what's called self deception, where now we're creating stories about her, what all this means, her wanting to leave, not caring, things like that. And because we now believe these stories that we just made up, we are going to start treating her differently because of it. So we really have to be careful when those kind of things come up, when something triggers or upsets us to address it, either address it directly as soon as you can, or be able to put it to a side, realize that we don't actually know what that means until we have some more detailed facts that we're just going to
Yeah.
that alone and circle back to it at a more appropriate time. So that's the general strategy and thing that I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
All that makes sense?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
It's
How's
hard to notice that kind of stuff though. I mean, like
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
to a bid for connection, to me, it was more like, I don't want to go to the bathroom by myself. Hey, come with me type of thing. But
Right.
it's, that's hard stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it would have been easier had you not already been upset. I think you've probably been more willing, regardless of what justification you think it is for her asking.
Mhm.
eh, You probably still would have been more open to doing it had you not been upset.
Yeah.
So generally, when we're not upset, it triggered, or in place of resentment or something like that, we are more receptive to any bid for connection. So I think instead of trying to focus heavily on is she giving me reaching out for connection, focus on not harboring resentment, anger, things like that. So you'll be naturally more receptive and it should take care of itself. And then once you get to that point, then you can start consciously looking for bids because different women will do it very well differently. And some are more overt, some are more subtle, depending on their own backhood, their childhood, their trauma, right? Some don't want to be rejected, so they might do very passive ones. And that's just learning your wife's language, her dance, so that you can pick up on her, what looks like a bid for connection. Same thing when it comes to sex, like how they approach like wanting sex, right? Some women are very direct and open. Some women are very subtle or passive about it,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same kind of thing. You've got to learn her language and commit to learning her language, how she expresses herself. And it'll become easier over time once you're more aware of it.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to one of the more heavier ones. Let's talk about the anger issues, right? The
Mhm.
anger problems. And have you ever gone to therapy or anything like that?
I didn't do any kind of classes or anything like that. I've done online like workshop type things where I've kind of picked and poked at what I felt like was going to work and
Mhm.
kind of like put it into a strategy for myself and then try to implement that stuff on a daily basis.
So
But no, I
specifically,
haven't been able to get into any kind of therapy yet. I'm still waiting on insurance to kick in. So I'm
okay.
playing the game of waiting and all that. So
Yeah. In our program, we give our clients some specific tools to help, in my opinion, be more effective than therapy. But for you, I think therapy is going to be a really good start.
mhm,
That's because, like you said, you had a, a very tough past, right? A very tough childhood, especially when you're talking about abuse, you're talking about yelling, alcoholism, all those types of things. Like
yeah.
there's a lot that needs to be explored and addressed there. And I think through that, you'll be able to start getting to the root of what you're actually angry about.
Mhm,
Because underneath anger is actually a secondary emotion. And what I mean by
yeah.
okay, so you're familiar with that concept. And like underneath anger is usually something, the actual emotion. And more likely than not is sadness.
I was going to say it's typically hurt,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. So I think within therapy, you can start exploring where you truly hurt about. And when you can start allowing yourself to feel that hurt, you will begin to let go of the anger. That won't be your response. Eh,
Yeah.
eh, You can even hear it in what you were talking about with your wife. She would do something or when you would get blackout drunk, right? You started expressing, essentially, you express all that deep hurt that you've been
Yeah.
experiencing in the marriage. And that was your only way to tap into expressing that hurt was being blackout drunk, which is probably why you get blackout drunk because you want to express that hurt, right? You don't want to
Yeah.
keep it bottled in. So you're probably drinking to get that hurt out. So I also think when you start addressing that, likely the drinking too much problem will probably go away. I won't promise
Oh,
it,
yeah.
uh, but I think that would make a substantial shift there for you. Right. That makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So we talked about the connections. We talked about the anger. Talked about the drinking. Obviously, you acting out, being angry, yelling at her creates an environment where she doesn't feel emotionally safe. Probably also doesn't feel physically safe. Right. So you
Yeah.
both sides of safety. And when she doesn't feel safe, both in that respect and now also financially unsafe because you guys separate your income and she's probably taking care of herself to some extent.
Yeah.
Right. So you have safety and lack of safe security across the board. That's going to put her into survival mode. Right. So she's likely in survival mode right now. And when she's in survival mode, it's really hard for any attempts for connection, any attempts to reconcile to happen because her nervous system is in fight or flight.
Yeah.
She has to protect herself. She has to take care of the kids. That's where she's at. So until you're able to get her out of that, you're going to have a hard time moving where further than that. And that's going to come in the financial side. That's going to come in physical safety. It's going to come in emotional safety. Primarily for you, I don't think the physical safety is going to be as big right now in this season, but the emotional and the financial, you want to make sure she's feeling safe in those,
Yeah.
right? And when you can become a source of that safety for her, or at least contribute to it, you will also then start seeing her open up some more,
Yeah.
right? Following all that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That helpful?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not much of a talker. I like listening because then I'm processing and everything. And so,
Not a problem. Just want to make sure you're with me.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So the two more things I wanted to cover based on what you were saying. The worrying about her seeing change and the reverting and all that. So don't put any energy into worrying about seeing her seeing your change.
Yeah.
Because as long as you actually change, she will see it, right? She can't not see it.
Yeah.
Just focus on actually changing. She will notice it. You don't have to worry about that. That's just a waste of energy. Okay.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. So I'm just,
Yeah. It's a hundred. You will guarantee the only way guarantee she will see the change is by actually changing. So focus on actually changing and everything else will take care of itself in terms of her seeing it. That I
yeah.
can you you may just need to change to a significant enough degree. And you probably just haven't reached that threshold yet. Mhm. And so the other thing is you're talking about the up and down, the good day, bad days, the things that can make it harder. So I just want to give you a little technique that you can utilize. And it's going to sound really simple. It's going to sound deceivingly simple. But I promise you, if you do it, you will notice a dramatic shift in your confidence, your motivation, how you feel about yourself.
Okay.
So before you do, and we'll start with anything in particular towards the marriage, maybe before you read a book, maybe before you do a podcast, maybe before you go through one of our training videos, something like that. I want you to first tell yourself that I am doing this so that let's say I'm taking one step closer to reconciling my marriage, right? Tell yourself that I'm doing this to take one step closer to reconciling my marriage. And then after you complete it, tell yourself, I just finished taking one step closer to reconciling my marriage. And what that is going to do is going to create a positive feedback loop for yourself. Every time you say that to yourself, you're like, oh, I'm actively working on saving my marriage. After you complete it, wow, I actively just did something that brought me closer. And that's going to compound very quickly. Think of like compound interest, like that concept,
Yeah.
right? It's going to compound very quickly. And within easily within a week, you will feel dramatically more confident. You'll feel better about yourself and your efforts, and you will start showing up better and you'll have better days.
Yeah.
Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Could you see yourself doing that?
Yeah. I feel like I already am kind of mentally doing that, definitely have been taking great strides in the drinking. Like when I come home from work, like, oh, I didn't stop and buy a beer today. Like that's that I took that step forward and as
Yeah.
much as I wanted to, I decided not to, you know.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah. So right now you're doing it kind of by chance here and there. I want you to make it an actual practice that you do regularly with as many things as you can. Right. I'm giving you like simple things to anchor it to, like watching videos, reading a book or whatever. But you can also do it to things like I'm driving home and not getting a drink to take one step closer to reconciling my marriage. You get home is like, I just drove home without getting a drink. I just successfully took one step closer. Like you
yeah.
can also do it there. And I just want you to bring more intentionality to it. Cause like you said, you already kind of doing it. And I'm guessing you feel better when you think that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm giving you even more dopamine hits through that. And it'll create positive reinforcement. It'll create more momentum for you as well.
Yeah. Make it more consistent.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that will radically shift your mindset as well. So those are the main things that are sticking out to me. I think,
Mm.
yeah, focusing on those, really helping her, raise her out of survival, really start exploring your childhood stuff. And you don't have to wait till therapy. There are tons of books out there around this topic. A
Yeah.
lot probably get for free. Um, they'll definitely be at like a local library or something if you need to. And
Yeah.
um, I think a good one is your body keeps a score is one. That's pretty good. Uh, you are the one that you've been waiting for.
Okay.
Another good one specifically on communication is called I Hear You. And I would probably I would start with those three.
Yeah.
On Amazon, you'll get tons, you'll see other recommendations, but you don't have to wait till therapy to do it. There are things that will help you explore that.
Yeah. Yeah. Library is actually going to be, as soon as you said books that I can just, I'm a reader. I just haven't really put that effort into it yet. Um, but library is where I'll be heading out.
Yeah, that would be a good area to get lost in. Some of the topics are around like look for sections around like emotional healing, emotional well-being, emotional processing. Like you can Google what's the best books on emotional healing and processing and stuff like that. Like you can do some research on it. And when it comes to books, what I recommend is go to whatever calls out to you. Like wherever you see it, you're like, oh, that looks interesting. I kind of want to explore that. Follow your intuition. Because even if the book isn't like the greatest book in the world, there may be like one section that's what you really needed to hear. That wasn't
Yeah.
where
Really hit home,
yeah. So follow your intuition. You go to the library, just scan and see like, oh, this looks good. Just follow your gut. That's what I always recommend when it comes to books. All right. Any other questions for me?
No, not right off the top of my head. Um, like I said, I kind of didn't realize I would be doing this. And then when I got that message, I was like, huh, what is going on? Oh, I'm doing this. Okay. So like my brain's just kind of like blank at the moment because I'm not just trying to get this off the top of my head and it's not going to work that way. If I had thought it through a little bit, I could have wrote some things down, but
Fine. You're fine.
yeah,
No, I think we probably came to this conclusion regardless. Oh, it's all good. And yeah, I would say focus on those things. And I think you will make a lot of headway.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being with me today. Thanks for sharing your story. And I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Okay. Take care.
That was today's hot seat. Hopefully you took away something that's going to help you in your situation as well. And if you're looking for more guidance, tools, resources, programs, support, things to really help you save your marriage, go to husbandhotseat.com where you'll find that a whole lot more. And you can even book a hot seat session of your own with me. So go ahead and head over to husbandhotseat.com and let's go get you your marriage back too. Take care.